Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you might be joining from. I am HR Funk, sitting here behind the tinfoil HRF microphone. And welcome to my I'll Take the Low Road live stream. The title of today's video comes from the fact that toward the end of the week, and actually into next week, my wife and I are going to be traveling. And the title of the live stream is a pretty big hint as to where we're going to be traveling to. So I'll leave it up to you and see who the first one is that can guess where it is we're going to be heading. As I've done for several live streams now, I've got the email going across the bottom of the screen. Can't talk this morning for some reason. Haven't had enough coffee yet. But if anyone would like to join as a guest on the live stream, all you have to do is shoot me an email at hrfunk@zoominternet.net. When I get the email, I will return a link to you. You can click on that, and it will bring you to the live screen. I'll bring you into the room here. And we can do a split screen and you'll be able to be seen and heard. If you don't want to be actually visible, you can choose not to have your camera activated, and we'll only have you join by audio, but we can have a discussion back and forth. So if anyone is interested in being a guest on the show, shoot me a live stream, shoot me an email rather, and I will get you that link to the live stream. Some programming notes here coming up into March. There's probably going to be some sporadic video. There will be some weeks that are coming where there will be a Wednesday or a Saturday, most likely, where there will not be a video. And it has to do with the traveling that I'm going to be doing. And I know that there are going to be some times that I'm just not going to have videos up. So bear with me as we make our way through this month. But fear not, the videos aren't going to go away, at least so long as I'm still on YouTube and they don't boot me completely off. If that would happen, which the way they're kicking people off right and left of YouTube, if all of a sudden one day I am just gone, go to Rumble. I do have a Rumble account, and I will have, if anything happens to me here on YouTube, I'll post something onto Rumble to let everyone know what happened and what's going on and all that. But hopefully I'll be on YouTube for a while yet. The Rumble account is something that a lot of people have talked about, and I've actually had that Rumble account for over a year now. And I still get people periodically saying, "Hey, you need to go to Rumble. You need to go to Rumble." And I'll say, "Well, I'm there. I've been there for a year." And the fact that nobody knows about it is a clear indication of how successful that venture has not been, which is not meant to criticize anyone or insult anyone who has watched the videos on Rumble. If you have, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But it just really, I think I've got, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 videos there or something like that. And collectively, they might have 500 views. To give you an idea of the difference, that's, 500 views over the course of a year. With an average video on YouTube, I'll have 500 views in maybe 3 hours, something like that. So, I mean, it just gives you an idea of the difference between the two platforms and how many more viewers there are that watch the videos on YouTube as opposed to Rumble. I have kept in mind some of the other platforms that are out there, and I keep evaluating them. I have not put an account on any of those yet. If I do, I'll let you all know. And by the way, I'm remiss here because I have not started to greet anyone. I know that some of you were here prior to the broadcast kicking off. Ben Crane is here. How you doing, Ben? By the way, Ben, I was at House of Pain Munitions a couple of days ago, and they were talking about when you were there. They spoke very favorably of you. So I told them they must have had you confused with someone else. I had to explain who you are. No, just kidding, just kidding. Ben is a great guy. I've actually met him. He came to see me a couple of times when I was still chief of police. We had some great conversations. He loaned me what he claimed was a handgun one time, and then I found out later it was an HK. But no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Thank you, Ben. Thanks for loaning that. And you gave me some ammunition too, so thank you for that. Anyway, who else is here? KD Cowboy. Good morning, KD. ME is here. No, not Mexico. Jeff Tim is here. Good morning, Jeff. I hope everything's going great down in St. Augustine there. I hope you have some good weather. Dan Z is here, or Dan AZ, Semper Fi Dan. Steve Detweiler is here. So looks like we got a lot of the usual group that has made it here this morning. LJ says, I keep meaning to go to Rumble, and I always forget to actually do it. Yeah, and I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people think in the moment, yeah, I want to go to Rumble. I want to see what's going on there. I want to start watching videos there and get away from YouTube. And then you kind of forget about that. And then the next time you want to see a video about how to work on your car or how to make a better cup of coffee or something like that, just sort of out of habit, you go to YouTube, and that's what everyone is so used to doing. And that's why YouTube has such a huge viewership, for lack of a better word. And there is so much more audience here than you'll get in some of these other platforms. And that led me to something else that I was going to say, and now it's completely slipped my mind. So let me go back and see who else we've got here. Dewan is here. Good morning, Dewan. Ken Tucker, good morning to you. Ben says they absolutely had him confused with someone else. Jeff Tim says it's mostly sunny, projected 80 degrees. Good for you. I don't know what our forecast is today here. A couple of days ago, it was up to 60 degrees here. It was kind of amazing for February in Ohio. It was beautiful out. Of course, that was a day that I had other things going on and I couldn't make it to the range. So yesterday I went to the range and the temperature was back down to like, I don't know, 29 or something like that. So, but that reminds me, I do have some videos that are in the pipeline here, and those are going to be coming out. So when I was talking a little while ago about some interruptions in the videos, there are going to be some. I will get them, I will finish editing them and get them uploaded and set them to automatically go live on the respective dates that I have them set for. And you'll still be able to see all of those. And some of the ones that I have coming are pretty interesting. I've got one that sort of came out of the blue. There was a gentleman that lives close by me here, Rich, who may well be in the audience here. I know he was talking about being here, but he loaned me a handgun that's going to be coming up for review that I think you all are going to find pretty interesting. I've also got one that a lot of you have asked me for a long time to review. I finally got one in. I'll leave it hanging out there as to what it actually is, but that's another one I think you're going to enjoy coming up. I've got some projects that are going to turn into videos very shortly. I just have to wait for some things to happen in order to actually get those up and running. So I got some good stuff coming in March, but it just might not be quite as much content as I usually have during an average month. And I saw somebody up here who's wanting Mimi. It's Roy Kiefer. Sorry, Roy. She left. She went to CrossFit this morning because that's her thing. She is headed out off making herself or getting herself into better physical can't talk, into better physical condition. And I am sitting here doing nothing and drinking coffee. So she's setting the example this morning. Joe Morgan is here. Glad you made it, Joe. And LJ says, I never grow tired of Revolver videos. And I enjoy making those too. As I've said in some past videos, shooting revolvers is kind of a relaxing thing for me because you don't have all the drama associated with, semi-autos. You don't have magazines that you're loading and, cycling slides and cartridge cases flying past your head when you're shooting. You just sort of relax, load it up, and concentrate on shooting. And I enjoy that a lot. I also enjoy black powder shooting for the same reason. There's absolutely no way you can get into a hurry when you're shooting black powder firearms. So it sort of forces you to take your time and enjoy the process of loading and shooting, and of course later on cleaning. But and I don't even mind the cleaning of black powder firearms. Some people really don't like that, but it doesn't bother me all that much. Bob says, I feel that if people leave YouTube and move to Rumble, they're just giving in to YouTube politics. Yeah, I know what you're saying. And to a degree, they're doing exactly what YouTube is hoping they'll do. The content creators on YouTube that they are sort of trying to force off the platform or downplay on the platform, first off, are the content creators that they're not making a lot of money from. If they were making a lot of money, they would have a completely different take on people like firearms content creators. But they're not making a great deal of money to begin with, and they also see a potential liability there with advertisers who may not want their products, whatever they might be, associated with, say, firearms videos or some other sort of controversial video. So if we would just sort of fade away, they would probably be perfectly happy to see us go. But a lot of us continue to hang around. Excuse me, I'm not had enough coffee. But we continue to hang around, and I think, as I said a minute ago, they would be just as happy to see us go. And where am I here? Missing all kinds of by the way, I'll apologize now. I always try to get this into when I first started to do live streams. I always tried to make sure I got every single response or an answer to every single comment that was directed at me in the list over here. And what I've discovered over time is it's just impossible to do that. It takes me too long. I'm running back up the screen and trying to find every comment. And, sometimes you guys are talking back and forth with each other, which is fine. No problem with that. But, I'm trying to find a comment and, there's dead space in the stream and everything. So now I'm trying to catch the comments that I can. If I miss your comment, I apologize. If it's something you're really, really trying to get an answer to, you might need to put it in there a couple of times for me to catch it. But I will try to get to as many of them as I can. Rookie Spartan is here, says old school revolver videos, next bullet loops, dump pouches. I don't have any. I've got some bullet loops in my cowboy rigs, but I don't have any dump pouches anywhere. I should have grabbed them when I was at the PD. In the armory of every police department, there's always a dusty box of junk in the corner that nobody ever wants to throw away. I don't know why. It's like when a government entity buys something, that is expected to last forever. It doesn't matter how archaic it is. It's always, like I said, in a dusty box in a back room somewhere. But there's always a dusty box in a corner of an armory that's full of old leather and speed loaders and whatever assorted junk. And I know we had some dump pouches in one of those boxes like that at the PD. And I kind of wish now I would have grabbed a couple of those and maybe some of the older style cartridge loop belt. It was a slide-on cartridge holder, but some of those things just to be able to use in some videos. But currently, I don't have any. Black Horse is here, says, good morning from Arkansas. Good morning to you. Steve Detweiler says, my new, and it just jumped. My new Springfield Range Officer target is a delight to shoot. Good for you compared to your Glock 21. And yeah, I can imagine that feels like a Cadillac after shooting the Glock. And selling it today to pay for the 1911. Good for you. Zane Benson is here, says good morning from the Idaho tundra. Good morning to you, Zane. And yeah, I know you folks have had quite a bit of weather out there, particularly these last few days. So stay warm, and I hope you enjoy the live stream. Katie Cowboy, can you ever do a video shooting moving targets like a spinner or a dueling tree? Maybe, but it's probably not going to be anytime soon. The range that I used to use for recording the videos was the police department range. So when I retired from the police department, I can't use that one anymore. When I used that range, I could do pretty much anything I wanted to. I could take my own targets out. I could have spinning targets, moving targets, whatever the sky's the limit, whatever I could dream up. But the range that I'm now using for the videos, I'm a lot more limited on what I can do. So in the future, at some point, if I get back to that situation where I can do sort of whatever I want to, then I can look at some, moving targets, spinning targets, all that sort of thing. But I'm just kind of restricted at the moment with that sort of thing. Bob says shooting my Ruger single 10 is almost like shooting a black powder revolver. And looking down through here for the next comment directed to me. Mr. Goldenrod, agree about revolvers. Just purchased the reloading components for a 38 special, but haven't reloaded in 35 years. 38 special is a nice cartridge to reload because it gives you such a range. You can go from really, really mild, wad cutter type ammunition all the way up to some plus P defensive loads. It's just such a versatile cartridge. The only bad thing is right now still reloading components, especially primers, are so difficult to find and so expensive when you do find them. So I keep hoping that situation will correct itself before long, but we're still waiting. Ben Crane says, HR Funk, if we can talk with each other, if we can't talk with each other, I'm out of here, especially after the HK count. I'm sorry, Ben. I'm sorry. I was just kidding. Don't be upset. Rookie Spartan says, you never know. We need some trusty old dump pouches in the age of autoloaders. David Breckenridge is here from Minnesota. Good morning to you. ALU Ministries, do you have any insight into 38 long Colt or short Colt out of a 38 special for someone that has recoil intolerance? No, I don't. I mean, I'm familiar with those cartridges. I don't know about their interchangeability in a 38 special chamber. If somebody else does, maybe you can let him know, but I'm just not sure about that. Dewan, did I tell you that I got rid of the Lionheart? You did tell me that. And I hope you didn't do that just strictly or solely based on the video that I had, because and I think I even said in that video, someone else might shoot that pistol and be very happy with it. And there were a lot of good things about it. It shot pretty well as far as its level of accuracy and all of that, its reliability. But I just that trigger action just sort of threw me off. And I'm sure that's because I wasn't used to it. But it's not something I don't think that I wanted to try to retrain myself to be able to acclimate to, which is what I think I said in the video. Graybeard, anyone have experience with Fusion 1911s? I do not. Steve Detweiler, time to buy land and create your own range. I would love to. When I look at somebody like Hickok, who basically walks out of his door and he's got that array of targets and everything, and he can do whatever he wants there on his own property. I would love to have that sort of a situation, but where I live currently, I just don't have that. I would probably have to move in order to do it. Not probably, I would have to move in order to do it. Roy Kiefer, probably of limited interest, but I've been shooting my HK USP Tactical 45 recently and really love its accuracy, durability, reliability, and the DASA design. Good for you. And I was kidding about the HK a little while ago. I mean, they do make fine firearms. Scott 78731, with the old breed, please sprinkle a few more Marine jokes, like the first two Marines. Yeah, I enjoy that joke. Have you guys seen the meme or the little cartoon drawing that it purportedly shows how the Marine Corps was founded, with the two guys sitting there drinking beer, and they're talking about, hey, let's get a shooting club together where we just drink beer and shoot things, and the other guy says, yeah, we'll get the Navy to take us around on boats, and then the next thing says, and so the United States Marine Corps was born. They wanted the video had a lot to do with it, but it was the retraining aspect. Okay, so you kind of had the same feeling as I did, it sounds like. Katie Cowboy, last trip to the shop, put a Smith & Wesson equalizer in my hand, and no offense to Smith & Wesson fans, but it kind of felt like those things do absolutely nothing for me. I recorded that video a while back talking about, is Smith & Wesson dying? They're just sort of flailing away and throwing out, whatever somebody dreams up, trying to capture some market share or make some sales. And I don't know. There's a desperation feeling to it, or a feeling of desperation to it. And I don't know. I've just been sort of underwhelmed with a lot of their products. Some of the older products, the quality has been kind of slipping. Now everybody's kind of waiting to see what happens when they change to their new manufacturing facility. And maybe when that happens, we'll see an uptick in not only the quality of their products, but also the products that they are putting out. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. Roy Kiefer, permanent lance. I think he's trying to tell me something. Dan Crane, the equalizer is ugly and I don't like it, but we're selling them at the shop. People keep buying them. Well, I guess if people like them, if they feel like they're getting a good quality firearm, the one that I have coming up probably in the next video, my next video review, is one that I thought at the outset that I wasn't going to be real impressed by, and I turned out being quite favorably impressed with it. So when you guys see that video, you'll have to see what you think as well. I have to say the Smith & Wesson 5.7 looks interesting. It's funny. I was just talking to somebody at a gun shop earlier this week, and I said something about the 5.7, and I said, yeah, that cartridge just doesn't interest me. I realize ballistically it has an edge on the 22 Magnum, but it seems in my mind so close to a 22 Magnum that for the difference in price of ammunition, the difference in price of the firearms, the difference in availability between the two, if I wanted something along those lines, I'd probably just go with the 22 Magnum. But again, if people purchase it and they like it, all the more power to them as far as that goes. Jeff Tim, I think Smith & Wesson is chasing specialty markets. I think they are too. By the way, I have my own coffee refill in here today. How about that? So I am prepared for the long haul. I have plenty of coffee, and I would share it with all of you if I could. By the way, this is some great coffee. I got it a couple of days ago at the local grocery store, and trying to think of the name of this, Twin Rivers or something like that, but it's pretty good coffee. So there's an embedded coffee review in the live stream. Okay, that's the name. Roy just told me that Permanent Lance is the name of the core cartoon or a core cartoon that he occasionally follows. I thought maybe you demoted me, Roy. You told me that's where I was going to stay, which he could do. Let's see. They want exactly if the price of ammo goes down, I'll get one. Yeah, and from what I understand, the price of the 5.7 is coming down somewhat. I think all ammo is still coming down a little bit. Maybe Ben weigh in on that. It seems that way to me. I think we're seeing the availability of some cartridges come back a little bit more. So hopefully that's another good sign, and we'll continue to see that. I don't know that we're ever going to get back to, say, 2016 prices or anything else, but still, if it comes back to something a little bit more reasonable, I was able to buy 9mm ammunition. That was the Blazer aluminum case stuff the other day. It was, I think, $12.99 for a box of 50. So I got a couple hundred rounds of that stuff. So at least I'll have cheap ammunition to burn up when I'm making the videos. And of course, House of Pain continues to help me out with ammunition, which I greatly, greatly appreciate. I mean, those guys, they really, really treat me well. That's all I can say. With allowing me to borrow firearms and, helping me out with the ammunition and stuff like that. What a great, great bunch. And I keep inviting them to come on to the Saturday morning premiere chats or come on to the live streams. And so far, I don't think they've taken me up on it. But, what a great bunch of guys, all former military veterans from the U.S. here. Just a really, really good bunch of people. And now I'm going to go back and see because I'm ignoring the comments again. Bill 1717 says Smith & Wesson has real quality issues. Son bought 2 PC models and sent them back. Looks like a few times before he traded them off. That's too bad. Daywan says Smith & Wesson let me down with a 10mm. Put maybe 5 rounds through it. Took it back and got a Glock 20. What did you not like about the Smith & Wesson M&P 10? Just out of curiosity. Ricky Spartan, how does HR take his coffee? Just black, straight and black. It's the way coffee was intended to be drank, not like you get at Starbucks where they put everything in to make it not taste like coffee, and they give it some kind of a strange sounding name, and then people drink it, and it's like 8 million calories and all of that. With nails. The 10mm seems to be making another comeback. I think the 10mm is a beneficiary of the what I'll call the internet echo chamber, where people continually praise it in videos and online articles and whatever else. And it's a good cartridge. I like the 10mm as far as that goes. It's expensive. It's more expensive than comparable 9mm, 45, whatever. Uh, but it is a relatively powerful semi-auto cartridge. It's fairly accurate. It's a easy cartridge to reload if you're into hand loading. So I can't say anything bad about the 10 millimeter. In fact, it's a really good cartridge. But yeah, there's just a lot of hype that goes along with it. And if you're looking for something just to poke holes in a paper target at the range, there's a lot less expensive things than a 10 millimeter that you can accomplish that with. Now, for defensive purposes, especially if you might be defending yourself against some four-legged threats, then the 10 millimeter is a pretty good option. Ben Crane says 9 millimeter ball can be found $12 to $14 a box. 5.7 is about $1 around. Yeah, that's about what I'm seeing in this area. Although I still see a lot of the 9 millimeter ammunition that's up around $19, $20, $24 for a box of 50, and not the premium defensive stuff, but stuff like Remington, 124 grain full metal jacket ammunition or something like that. So I mean, some of it there's just quite a range depending on exactly what you're looking at least in this area. Chris 1911 is here. How you doing, Chris? Bob says, I found that my Smith & Wesson Shield was 9 millimeter ammo specific, so I traded it for a Springfield Armory XDS. Really? I had a Shield for years, and I never noticed any ammo sensitivity with it. The only reason I don't still have it is because I got the Springfield Armory Hellcat, which is a little easier to carry. So I ended up not carrying my Shield, and it was just taking up space in the safe. So I traded that for something else, but I never found any problems with ammo sensitivity with it. Hold on a second here. Steve Detweiler says, suggestions for a budget apartment defense shotgun. Apartment defense shotgun almost sounds like an oxymoron. You could get, light buckshot that you didn't have to worry quite so much about penetrating walls and stuff like that. But for apartment defense, I almost said department offense. For apartment defense, I don't think you would really have anything other than you would want a relatively compact shotgun because it's probably going to be used in a fairly confined space. But any of the generic, 18-ish inch pump shotguns, or even some of the ones that are sort of the pistol shotguns, like the Mossberg, what's that thing called, Shockwave, would probably work well. But I don't know. I'm not sure that I would go the shotgun route in an apartment, depending on what it's constructed of and how it's configured and everything else. And it could be that's a non-issue, but just sitting here off the top of my head, I'm just not sure I would go that route. So nobody has made a guess yet. If you missed the very beginning of the show, the title, I'll Take the Low Road, is a hint toward a trip that my wife and I are going to be taking. So I'm waiting for someone to see if you guess what that's a reference to. I thought it was going to be easy. I thought someone would get that right off the bat. Also, just a reminder, if you'd like to come on as a guest, feel free to send me an email. I haven't received an email yet from anyone, so I assume nobody has decided they want to join in. But if you would like to appear, I will get you a link and bring you into the room here. And Jeff Tim says, Green Acres Sporting Goods has American Eagle 5.7 for 60 cents around. Okay, well, that's definitely less expensive than I'm seeing it in this area. Springfield Armory garbage? No, Springfield Armory is not garbage any more than any other manufacturer out there. Steve Detweiler says 45 ACP is hanging at $30 for 50 in Texas. Yeah, I could probably find it a little. It seems like I saw some the other day for, I don't know, $25 for 50 or $28 for 50 when I was out wandering around someplace. I do that periodically through the week. I'll go gun shop hopping if I got some time, and I'm just sort of browsing and looking at prices and availability and things like that. I keep waiting for some of the things that I saw shown at the SHOT Show from last month, finally starting to filter their way to the gun shops. And so far, I've not seen any of those things, which seems to be a thing with manufacturers these days. They unveil something at the SHOT Show, and there'll be a lot of discussion that, yeah, we've got a bunch of these things all boxed up and ready to ship, and they're going to be out there in the first quarter or whatever. And then it's like we wait months and months and months and months. How long was it from the time Springfield Armory announced their SA-35 until finally? In fact, I didn't see one in this area, yeah, in real life until just a month or so ago. I mean, it took like a year and a half before we finally saw one. So it's just with all manufacturers, it's just odd. It seems like they unveil these things and it is forever until you see them. 38 special ammo is still expensive. It's also one of the ones that's still harder to find. I think you can find quite a few other things. For some reason, 38 special ammo is one of those cartridges that it must be that the manufacturers are focusing on other cartridges, like their semi-auto cartridges and whatever. And for some reason, 38 special is one that just doesn't get churned out as much. And a couple of comments about the Hellcat coming down through here. Anthony Dardelli says hello from Canada. Hello to you, Anthony. Thanks for joining. Jeff Tim guessed it. Yes, we are going to be traveling to Scotland next week, specifically traveling to Edinburgh and spending some time there. We've actually been there a couple of times in the past. My wife is of Scottish descent, so she likes to go back there periodically. And Edinburgh is a great town. If you ever get a chance to go there, there is a lot to see, just a tremendous amount of history in Scotland. And it feels like, things that happened in the 1400s and 1500s and things like that. As you're walking around and looking around and discussing it, it feels like it wasn't that long ago. But we're going to be in Edinburgh for a while. We're going to drive up through the Scottish Highlands. I think we're going to go back to Loch Ness. We've been there before. Probably stop at a distillery or two along the way. So if anybody has any orders, get those to me while you can. And where am I here? Bill Fisher says, good morning, Chief. I've carried a Performance Center shield for years. Wouldn't give it up. Vacationing in Scotland. Yes, we are. Graybeard says, I was intrigued by the RIA 50. And that's another one that I've seen, quite a bit, quite a few videos on and things like that, but I've not seen one in real life yet. Rookie Spartan says, HR, I know the live stream is on your mind now, but I sent you an email a few days back about a firearm related topic. And I thought I sent you a response to that. Check your email, because I'm certain I responded to your question. So see if you have that. Jeff Tim says, have to say Smith & Wesson has been announcing and delivering the same time, at least there in Jack. Okay, good. And I have seen a lot of the newer Smith & Wessons. So, the metal frame M&P and the new competitor and, all the equalizer and all that. So you're right. I have seen those out there. Craig Benz is still waiting to see an SA-35 for real. Yeah, I don't know what happened with those, that it just took so long before we started to see them. Bob, what's your opinion of the 22 Magnum for self-defense? Well, when you consider some people use a 22 long rifle, it's definitely a step up from there. I wouldn't want to be shot with one of the things. So I think you could do a whole lot worse. It wouldn't be my first choice for defensive cartridge, but if I had to use one, I would use it and make the best of it that I could. Daryl Walton says, "Good morning. Sounds like you may be headed to Loch Lomond." Yep, yep. I don't know if we're going to go there specifically, but like I said, we are going to Scotland. That's where the title came from. It's one of the lyrics from Loch Lomond, if anyone's familiar with that. Skip Boyer is here. Good morning, Reverend Skip. I didn't notice you in there until just now. James Vatter says they took a long time making it available. The mythical creature they refer to as the SA-35 has disappeared from my radar. Kind of mine too. I was kind of excited about that when it first came out, and just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then seeing some of the Turkish imports come in that were clones of the P-35 and everything else. I just kind of started to feel like, I don't know. And plus, I started to hear a lot of reports coming back. Some of you know that I'm affiliated or at least familiar with BH Spring Solutions, that does a lot of work on Browning high powers or P-35 type handguns. And I got some information back from them about some of the rough edges with the SA-35. And I thought, for that price and for what they're building overseas and everything else, I don't know. I've just kind of cooled off considerably toward the SA-35. Roy Kiefer, Edinburgh, if I can say it right, is really terrific. I agree. I absolutely agree. Do you throw large logs around while you're No, I do not. ALU Ministries says, back in our old age, they used to say slow and heavy was the proper ballistics for a defensive gun. Now it seems to be faster than light. Yeah. Do I have any thoughts on which? Everybody spends a lot of time talking about, different theories on ammunition stopping capabilities and all that. What we've seen historically is, first off, handgun cartridges, regardless of the cartridge, aren't the greatest thing for stopping bad guys or stopping anything else for that matter. We've seen both the slow, heavy bullets and the light, fast bullets do a good job stopping people sometimes. We've seen them both do not such a good job stopping people sometimes. I think my feeling at this juncture is carry what makes you feel the most comfortable and what you have the most faith in, and train with it to be able to put effective shots on target. And that's probably about as well as you're going to be able to prepare. Jeff Tim says, HR Funk, consider the 5.7 and 9mm as a beginner's SD combo, carbine and pistol. Okay. Ricky Spartan, nothing in my spam. I'll double check that then. I know I sent a response. I remember typing it out, so I'll make sure it's not stuck in my outbox or something like that. Jeff Tim, on the SAS combo, 38 Ruger single actions, 38, hold on a second, 38 lever carbine for self-defense for beginners. That would be another good one. Daywan, do you think the SA-35 will go up further in price since they can't be found? Well, they're starting to appear now, and from what I've seen, some of the prices are actually starting to come down now that they're becoming available. I know for a while there, a year or so ago, the prices were astronomical. They were like twice the MSRP. That if somebody happened to have one for sale, that's what they were asking. And they're already down from that. So we'll see what happens from here going forward. Skip Boyer's got his SA-35 in a safe, and good for him. I hope you're still enjoying that. Bob says that the Hellcat is a new production firearm and is not legal to purchase. Really? That's surprising to me, because the Hellcat's now been out for what, 2.5, 3 years, something like that. Steve Detweiler is bowing out. Have a great day, Steve. Hope you get a good sale price on your Glock, and have a great day. Daryl Walton set aside enough for SA-35, then bumped it into a new Browning with adjustment. I think you made the right choice there. especially if you got the blued, the high polished blued Browning. Those are really nice pistols. Jeff Tim's talking about the caber tossers. Mark Becker is here. Good morning, Mark. Glad you made it. Bob says, HR, have you ever watched Paul Harrell's channel? I have. I don't watch every single one of his videos, but I've seen quite a few of them. I think he does a great job. He's very entertaining to watch. I think he's got great information. So I think he does really, really good videos. And 223 DMR is here. Good morning to you. Let me just take a quick look here and make sure I have not missed anyone that might have sent an email that I didn't see, and I have not. So again, anyone that's interested in joining as a guest, send me an email and I will get you that link. What are we up to here now anyway? Looks like we've been at this for about 41 minutes. So probably keep it going for about a good hour. So another 20 minutes, 19, 20 minutes for sure. And then we'll kind of see where things are. If we got a lot of participation, a lot of chat going on back and forth, then we'll keep it going. And if it looks like it's tapering off, we'll probably wind it up right about at the 1 hour mark. Jay Molnar 76 says, HR, I remember your Smith & Wesson video on production choices in recent years. With that in mind, thoughts on the new 5.7 pistol? Are you going to try one out? We were just talking about that a few minutes ago. I'm just very lukewarm to the 5.7 cartridge, and that the handgun, I don't know. I realize it has some differences between some of Smith & Wesson's, pistols that they've produced heretofore. But I guess if I was more excited about the cartridge, I would be more excited about the handgun. But since I'm not, the handgun's not doing much for me. I don't know. Maybe if there's enough interest enough interest in it from all of you, I'll get one in for a review. But I'm not at this juncture looking too hard at that. Jason Dunlap says, I live here in New Mexico, and the gun legislation is changing dramatically. Some of my firearms will be considered illegal. Pistol grips will be illegal on rifles. Should I get rid of them? I have no way to advise you on that, Jason, because I don't know what's going on with the legislative changes down there. I don't know, what options you may or may not have. So I think my best advice would be to talk to someone, maybe an attorney who is knowledgeable of the laws in your state and the changes that are taking place, and get some advice from them. 223 DMR says, I'm looking at an outside the waistband holster, but I can't seem to find one for a TP. It just jumped. TP9 SA Model 2, any thoughts? Not off the top of my head, although since those handguns are based on the Walther P99, you might look at some holsters for that handgun and see if they would also fit your pistol. You might actually have to give it a try and see. I don't know if it's going to list that as another option for it, but that's probably where I would start if I was looking for a holster for one of the Canik handguns. Roy Kiefer says, okay, I guess he's responding to Jason. Emmy says, come to Wyoming. Take a snow shovel. Skip Boyer says, every 5.7 pistol I've seen is mud ugly. I know what you mean. It's like they stretch them out and they make them longer and they just don't look that great. I agree. I know what you're saying there, Skip. Rich Powers, no non-filing replica today. I had a feeling somebody was going to ask me about that. No. And the reason is because what I was talking about a little while ago. YouTube is having quite a good time with booting people off the platform because of one infraction or another. So rather than give them ammunition to boot me, or maybe I should say more ammunition to boot me, I've decided to not have a non-fire replica today. Katie Cowboy, the president wants to make semi-automatic firearms illegal and probably slingshot. Yeah. If he can keep in mind or remember that there weren't enough airports during the Revolutionary War. Did you guys all see that video clip? That's one of those that shaking your head, I don't think is I don't think there's anything you do but just sit there and shake your head in utter disbelief when you hear that. Bob says the 5.7 by 28 cartridge has more velocity and will penetrate level 3 body armor. Well, okay. I guess if I was, interested in that, then that would be something I would want to take note of. But like I said, it just doesn't do anything for me. I'm just not interested in the cartridge. They won. Blackhawk makes a universal holster. They do, and I've got one of those universal holsters. It works pretty well. If I remember right, it's called their Omnivore. And let me take a quick look here and see if I missed any comments up through here. It's been a great chat so far this morning. It's the first live stream I've done for a while. It's like I got so busy with some other things that were going on, I hadn't had a chance to do it. And I kept thinking to myself, on a weeknight or weekend or whatever, I wanted to get together and do a live stream. And then one thing or another would happen and I wouldn't be able to do it. So since today rolled around, and I could have tried to rush a video and gotten it probably uploaded by today, but chances are it wouldn't have got through all the YouTube's checks and all of that, and it would probably end up being demonetized. So I thought rather than do that and potentially do a sloppy job in editing or something like that, I'll just wait, do the live stream today, since I've been wanting to do one anyway, and then get that video done well, and then get it uploaded so you folks will see it all later. Rookie Spartan, I was told the president is going to visit you on his trip. So far as I know, he's not made it. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. A lot of you have sent me questions and comments asking, if I'm close to where the railroad accident was, or if there's any danger or anything. And I am not really. East Palestine is probably an hour to an hour and a half east of me, and with the prevailing winds blowing to the east, I don't have too much of any concern with anything coming over here. But I do feel bad for those people. I thought about starting out the live stream today wearing my old M17 gas mask, but I was afraid that that could be taken the wrong way, like I was making fun of the people in East Palestine, and I really didn't want to do that. I thought it seemed like it was funny when I was thinking about it, and I thought, that might not be so funny, so I didn't do it. Although some of you might have thought that it looked better if I was wearing the old gas mask. 5-point Glock had a baby, you'd have a 5.7. Ben Crane says, I owned a Ruger 5.7 for a while. It was okay, but really didn't do anything for me either, so I sold it and bought another HK. At least you're consistent, Ben. New Fin, Feather, and Fur by Toledo. I did not know they built one there. So, wow. I remember Fin, Feather, and Fur when it started. Now, some of you are not going to have any idea what I'm talking about if you're not, around the Ohio area. But Fin, Feather, and Fur is a huge firearms, sporting, outdoor store in our area. And it started right by my hometown. I was originally born in Ashland, Ohio, and the original Fin, Feather, and Fur was right outside of Ashland on US 250. And I can remember when that opened, and it was just a little roadside convenience store. I don't think they had gas pumps. I don't think they were a gas station. I was probably, I don't know, 13, 14 at the time, something like that. But it was the kind of place you could go into and get, a bag of chips, a 6-pack of soda, whatever. They had live bait, I'm sure. And then, off in the corner, they had a couple of firearms and a couple of boxes of ammunition, probably 22 ammunition and, maybe a rifle or two. And that business grew and grew and grew. And, eventually they built this huge store, not quite as big as your average Cabela's, but not too far behind it. And now they've expanded to where they've got, well, with one in Toledo, they must have 5 stores around the state by now. And it just continues to expand and expand and expand. So it's a tremendous story that I've sort of watched grow throughout the course of my lifetime. Mr. Goldenrod, you're upwind. Yes, I am. I don't know about that, Rookie Spartan. I'm not sure that there was a 1911 involved in that train accident. The Finns in Perrysburg, not far from Bass Pro. All right. I wondered if it was in that area. I remember when the Bass Pro was brand new. I was over there years ago for a SWAT team commander training course, and the hotel that I stayed in was just more or less around the corner from that Bass Pro. And when I had some free time, I went over there and wandered around. So I know right where you're talking about. And I sort of wondered if it was in that area because I know there was quite a bit of space there for other things at the time. Craig Benz, do you have a favorite outside the waistband holster for your J-frame? Not really. I've got, I don't know if it's around here where I can grab someplace. It doesn't matter. I've got an old Bianchi shoulder holster that I use, and it actually comes off, the holster comes off of the harness, and it will work as a belt slide outside the waistband. So sometimes I'll use that. But generally, I carry the J-frame in other ways. So I don't really have a favorite outside the waistband holster for it. Marines, the men's department of the Navy. You're going to start a fight, Skip. Do you know how many fights I went to when I was an MP that started over things that were said like that? Mr. Goldenrod, wasn't there a magazine named FF? No, that was Fur Fishing Game was the name of the magazine. Although I have a feeling that name inspired the name of the store. Upwind from East Palestine, but unfortunately downstream. Yeah, that's going to flow right down the river toward you, Ben. So test your drinking water every now and again. Bob says, I traveled a lot for Columbia Gas and frequently visited Columbus, Ohio. Wish I knew you were in Ohio. Would have looked you up, shared a cup of coffee. That'd have been fun. Bird Doggy 1, have an old Bianchi for your J-frame. Okay. And those old Bianchi holsters were pretty good quality. And the one that I have is ancient. It's got to be something from like the early 1980s, and it still works just fine. Bob says Lock Leather has a great outside the waistband holster for a J-frame. All right. Tom Truesdale is here. Good morning, Tom. Glad you made it. Mark Nagel says, good morning, Howard. Bought a brand new G2C for under $200. Also, any luck with the new versus old M4 Auto 5? You lost me a little bit there. I think you're asking about the new M5 that the military has adopted. If so, no, I have not even seen one of those things, let alone been able to try one out. Skip Boyer, they're testing wells. How long does it take for surface water to get to the aquifer? I have no idea. Jeff Tim, Fin Feather and Fur Outfitters is in Middleburg Heights. That's one of their stores. South of Cleveland, near the Stonewall Range store. I don't know about the Stonewall Range. I'm not familiar with that, but yeah, it's in Middleburg Heights, just a little south of Cleveland. I've been to that store before. The big one is still in Ashland. All the other ones are a little bit smaller. They've got one over by Sandusky. They've got one down in the Youngstown area, which I think is in Boardman. Seems to me there's another one somewhere, and now apparently there's one up in the Toledo area as well. And taking a glance at the time here, looks like we're going to go about another 5 minutes. So any last comments anyone has that you want to throw out for the good of the order, feel free. We've still got time. If somebody wants to come on as a guest, you can shoot me an email and I'll bring you on for the last few minutes. And truthfully, if I'm having a discussion with somebody, we'll go on beyond an hour. But if not, it has been great getting together with everybody this morning. I hope you're having a great weekend and continue to do so. As I said, if you missed the announcement earlier in the show, during the month of March, because I'm going to be traveling and doing some other things, there's probably going to be some interruption in the video. There probably won't be one every Wednesday and every Saturday, but I will try to keep the videos, as best I can. I'll also try to get in some live streams. If I can get a good video connect, or a good internet connection rather, I may well do a live stream when I'm in Scotland. So that'll be the Edinburgh live stream or something like that. That'll come up in a week or so. Bob, HR is the better half. Share your passion for the shooting sports. She enjoys shooting and she likes firearms. She's not immersed in it to the degree that I am, but she's certainly not adverse to any of those activities. John Dottery, my son lives in the lovely state of New Jersey and is looking for a concealed carry gun with a safety on it, but the state has a 10-round magazine restriction. What would you buy? Maybe if you can find one of the original Smith & Wesson shields with thumb safety, that might be an option, which would not be 10 rounds. That would be a 7 or 8 round magazine with the original shields. Any of the state compliant. I know a lot of companies make like New Jersey compliant, Massachusetts compliant, things like that, that'll have the 10-round magazine capacity. If he's inclined to shoot a 1911, that would be an option, which depending upon what it's chambered for example, a 9mm 1911, you could get a 9-round or a 10-round magazine for that. So there's a few ideas, but obviously I don't know your son. I don't know his level of familiarity with firearms or how much he's going to train with them or anything else. So it's very difficult for me to make a recommendation. And just going down through here, Troy Mason, first live stream able to join in months. Enjoyed it. Semper Fi. Semper Fi to you, Troy. Yeah, just trying to catch our last minute comments down through here. Yeah, SIG 365 would be another one. It's a good suggestion, Ben. Majeski says, good morning, arrived late. Have a good weekend. Going to be in the 50s tomorrow in Omaha. Good. I'm glad you guys are getting some warmer weather out there. Yeah, just scrolling down through the comments here. 18 wins again. Good morning, HR from Virginia. 80 degrees yesterday and 44 this morning. You guys are going through the temperature fluctuations that we are. We had 66 degrees a couple of days ago, and then yesterday it was back down to like 30 degrees, and I don't even know what it is right now. Looks like it says 27 degrees at the moment here in northern central Ohio. And it's probably cooler where ERJG is. He's up along the lake there, so he gets a lot of wind coming out. It's actually blowing down out of Detroit right into his front drive or front door. 24 degrees. So yeah, a few degrees cooler up there than we are here. But all right, everybody, it's getting just about time to wrap things up here. Thanks to all of you for joining the live stream, and thank you for all your support. Thank you for watching the videos and everything you do to help me in this endeavor that I have here, which is creating these videos and getting them out and hopefully keeping them entertaining, keeping them informative. I absolutely could not do what I do without all of you. I've said this many times, without each and every one of you, I'm just some guy who'd be talking to himself in front of a camera. So thank you for 10 years worth of support here on my channel. I will be again gone toward the end of next week, or end of this coming week, and through the following week. So don't get concerned if you don't see a video, but they will be back again. And like I said, I'm going to try to get back in, hopefully for a live stream sometime during the time that I'm taking my trip. So until next time, everybody, have a great, great weekend. Everyone take care and good shooting. Bye-bye.